Hello everyone. Welcome back. I am Kris. Today's video is I investigated TikTok's giant Muslim Undertaker. But this video was sponsored by YouBuyWeRush, who says that all of you should go out and buy these freeze-dried candies that you cannot see. I love them. So if you ever had chewy sprees, it's sprees, but they're, I'm phasing. They're freeze-dried. So instead of it being chewy, you might not know what sprees are. That's okay. How about Skittles? They've been freeze-dried. I love these things. Can't get enough of them. It's really weird. But anyways, this is going to have to be broken into two parts. Apologies. See me click that thumbs up. If you could do the same for me, that helps out tremendously. You can subscribe to the channel. Click, see, like I just did. But you can't make the sound. You actually got to make the clicky sound. With the mouse, not the mouth. And then subscribe to the channel. I just said that, didn't I? You guys ever seen these? These are freeze-dried candies, apparently. I'm just going to repeat stupidity things. Am I dying? Is this what death is like? So if I die, I leave my channel to all of you. It's your responsibility to continue making videos. But the money should be mine. What? How does that work? Was that me? Oh my goodness. I took a week off. I filmed 2 weeks in advance, so I took all last week off, and you'd think I didn't remember how to do any of this. Finished a book for the first time in 3 years. Felt great. But yeah, apparently I don't remember how to do any of this. It's amazing how stupid you lose. What? What did I just say? It's amazing how stupid you become. Stupid you lose. So I'm not even going to get into the rest of the stuff. We're just going to start the video so I don't have to talk anymore. Almost knocked over my tea. I'm not having a good day right now. Okay. It's going to get betters starting now.
In the heart of Sydney's Muslim community at Australia's most iconic Muslim landmark, Lakemba Mosque. We're here to meet with someone known as the Muslim Undertaker, a former pro bodybuilder turned funeral director and mortician. His story has gone viral across the world with tens of millions of views and hundreds and thousands of followers, all taken aback by his riveting reminders about death and dying. Let's go. This was a journey that literally changed my life, no lie, and was perhaps one of the most difficult things I've ever put myself through. Please watch all the way to the end because I assure you, this will change you the same way it changed me. In this series, we captured the stories of homegrown heroes who are pillars in their local communities. Just like our sponsor, National Zakat Foundation, a brilliant charity that collects your zakat and distributes it locally to those most in need, to strengthen the foundations of Deen in local communities for generations to come. Please consider supporting them where you can. Let's get back to the video. I wanted to know how a dude built like a mammoth ended up as a humble giant washing bodies at the mosque. How did he go from bodybuilding to burying bodies? And what is it about his work that has made him resonate with so many people across the world? It was a question I was itching to find out. But in order to explain how, I need to take you all the way back to where it all began. As a teenager, Ahmed grew up as a rebellious kid, often found up to no good in Sydney's west.
I used to go on the weekends help my uncle on in his kayak, and I loved it, And I remember once I saw my uncle out of a can go and get petrol out of something into something else, like shifting petrol into it. And I thought, I want to try that. And I did a few too many, and I kind of just dazed out. And I thought, this feels good. And my uncle kind of noticed, what's wrong with this guy? And subhanAllah, I ended up fainting and vomiting, and they took me to the hospital, and then my mum started crying, oh, my son's a junkie, and we don't want to wreck him and all this stuff. And then they go, you know what, let's speak to the sheikh, let's find the alternative, let's send him off to Pakistan. That's how I ended up in Pakistan.
So in a bid to save their son, Ahmed's parents did what any other concerned migrant parent would do: send their son to Pakistan to memorize the Quran. Did it work?
Man, I got taught a lesson, bro.
Did you memorize Quran?
Yeah, I did. I memorized a lot of the Quran. I came back here and the Lakemba Mosque, and I remember Sheikh Taj, Allah yarhamu, I had the Hammama on, and I was this 14 and a half, 15-year-old, and he said, you're going to lead the prayer, and that's, subhanAllah, that's kind of always my foundation. The Quran was always there.
It was a beautiful connection he shared with his religion. But after settling back into Australia, a newfound passion began to simmer inside him. It was the late 80s, and of course, all the craze surrounded this guy.
I'll be back.
And Ahmed wasn't immune.
It was the school week, Christmas holidays, the 6 weeks. I used to stay over with my cousins, and they used to go to the PCYC at Bankstown and play basketball. So I went with them, and I was this little skinny twig, weighed 40 kilos, and I heard all this groaning, and I kind of followed the noise, and it took me to this room, and I saw all these gorillas, and I love this. This is where I want to be. And I remember my first bench press was just a bar with no weight. We measured our biceps, and my biceps were like 11 inches. And I said, you wait, in 1 year, they're going to be 12 inches. Wait and see.
It wasn't long until Ahmed was enticed into the glamorous world of bodybuilding, quickly collecting achievements that he still carries to this day.
This is my man cave. The history here, everything's history here. That was my first ever bodybuilding trophy. I won.
Oh yeah,
I was a teenager.
bodybuilding trophy.
Because I couldn't even afford to eat back then. Like my food was like a can of tuna for 60 cents. Because we were like 17 years old, and I was learning, and I achieved to win a comp eating off a couple of dollars a day.
It was a sport that was built for him, yet with no money in his pocket, Ahmed needed to find a way to sustain his love for the game. He soon found a job at the local grocery store, and it was through this he stumbled upon an unexpected passion.
And I remember my first job when I was on my P's. I would drive down to Homebush to work at Woolworths, and I would drive through into the cemetery on the way because I had a few hours to kill. So I would kill time there. And from there, subhanAllah, I used to see the cemetery as a place for tranquility, peace.
So Hajj Ahmed, this is perhaps where your story all began when you're 17 years old.
Yeah.
Right here.
Right here. I used to come here, and I started to walk around. I used to read the names, I used to just walk around aisle after aisle and read names and ponder. So I would see overgrowth, back then.
No maintenance.
No maintenance. So I bought a whippersnapper with whatever money I had. And I used to come here before work, and I used to whippersnapper and
Clean what you could.
clean what I could, yeah. And subhanAllah, man, it was amazing.
It was a feeling he couldn't explain, and a place he cared so deeply for. The passion would soon transform into a career, and Ahmed soon landed a job digging graves in the cemetery. Now with the money coming in, he was able to take his training.
That's really cool that he would go through and start cleaning out the cemetery. All the cemeteries around me have people that take care of them, like the state takes care of them. But you see them out there with lawn mowers and riding mowers and weed whackers, and yeah. But that's very cool that he did that. Very cool. Are we done? We're not fighting here.
More seriously, and soon enough, Ahmed became a beast in the game. Or more precisely, a mammoth. A Aussie mammoth. Seriously, that was his actual gym name. Tabarakallah. The gym became his home away from home, and it was a home Ahmed graciously invited me into to see for myself. I mean, this place was so close to home for him, he even knew the guys on the wall. Yeah, that guy.
That's Ronnie Coleman.
Isn't that your mate?
Yeah.
Ronnie Coleman's your mate.
Yeah. Next to him, there's the lightweight, yeah, baby. So that was his saying. Yeah. Lightweight, yeah, buddy. I lived with him for a bit, and when he came to Australia, he came like 9-10 times. Yeah. He'd always come to my house, I'd look after him. So I built a relationship with him. We never talked bodybuilding. We talked life.
Ahmed would go on to spend years in the gym, perfecting his physique. And since I was here, it was only right I got in one session. Please forgive me if I embarrass myself. I haven't trained in a long time. And clearly I was already coming up with excuses. No, it's okay. Hey. I got this. 9, 10. Done? What do you say? Lightweight, yeah, buddy. Slow down, small guy. But anyways, I think I got a bit too carried away with him spotting me that I tried to see how far I could push myself. No other time in the world will I ever attempt something like this, but when you've got someone like this spotting you, I think I'm in safe hands.
Come on, what's that? يكسر حلو. بده يكسر حلو.
Yeah, I don't think he was impressed.
Oh, إن شاء الله يوم توكل على الله. Let's go.
Let's go for once. All right.
3, 2, 1, up. So you come up, mashallah, come on.
I know what you're thinking. Did this little guy just pull that off? Alhamdulillah.
You did 4, that was impressive.
I mean, just having him tower over me was all the inspiration I needed.
When you have somebody that's spotting you, are we done? Stop. Have somebody just spotting you, and then they're like, you got this, you got this, you got this. You don't realize like how much more motivation that is to lift. And I mean, you have a giant like that, you're just like, well, if I fall, if I falter, he's just going to take the bar with one finger and be like, you were close. You're going to feel like, thanks, bro.
But anyways, back to the story. As Ahmed climbed up the bodybuilding ranks, it sure wasn't long until he began rubbing shoulders.
Hold on. All right, sorry about that. Dog's about to fight. Ronnie Coleman, the guy who he was talking about, is in terrible shape nowadays. He lifted so much weight, probably wasn't clean, if you know what I mean. Used injections to help him get muscle. But his body is just breaking down now because he has so much mass that he has. Are we done? That he has knee and hip and all kinds of issues. It's also just, when you get that big for your frame, sometimes your frame just can't sustain that.
With his teenage icons. You've got Arnold Schwarzenegger. What was it like meeting with Arnie?
First time I met him, I freaked out a bit because this is Terminator. I remember Terminator.
Hasta la vista, baby.
It was good. It was a good experience. It was great. It was what I wanted at the time. You got it.
Comp after comp, trophy after trophy, it was a sensation he couldn't get enough of. But as he gradually worked...
Okay, jeez, these dogs are just wanting to fight for nothing. It's very annoying. Okay.
Worked his way to the top of the industry, a new peak began to emerge on the horizon.
And I remember, the day I got my pro card and I became a professional bodybuilder. I rang my wife, I said to my wife, put the pies in the oven, I'm coming home. I said, that's it, I've accomplished that goal. I did it. That's all I ever wanted to was be able to do it. And I had no more passion for jumping on stage. It kind of just came out of me. And I thought, you know what, it's time to move on to something else now. And thus, that's where I started thinking, you know what, I'm pretty artistic, I'm pretty good at putting things together. So I started to help people build gyms, and I did some of that in Dubai, and I started doing my own gyms, and it just grew from there, subhanAllah.
The Aussie Mammoth was able to turn his buzz into a business and landed deals across the Arab world with the sheikhs and the princes. The money started coming in fast, and Ahmed was enjoying it.
This is a 458. This car is basically like a collector's car now. They don't make them anymore. So they're the last of the naturally aspirated engines.
But it wasn't just the fast cars. This is also a pilot's logbook. We're talking about planes now. Have you owned a plane? Have you owned your own plane?
Look, planes are cheaper than cars.
Really?
They're
What kind of Ferraris, obviously, but
yeah, like Cessnas,
clearly this conversation was kind of out of my league. But anyways, you get the point. He was living it. Yet amidst all the glory and worldly success, his inner child began screaming out to him.
Because I was in Pakistan when I was younger, doing Quran and Deen, felt I wasn't giving that what it should. And I thought to myself, oh, we're Muslim, like, thank God I have a little bit more to think about. That's where it started to open the way that, you know what, I don't think this is not as glamorous as it looks on the outside.
Things were just not right, and it lingered with him everywhere he went.
When I was in the bodybuilding game, I was known as the backstage man. So I would prep all the competitors. And obviously it was mixed, men and women. And the women aren't wearing abayat. And they're calling you, Ahmed, can you come put my number on, you know? And some of them in there have got half their clothes off. And you're going in there calling such and such to the front, such and such. And every, subhanAllah, when I did that work, that was the lowest point of my life, because I would always look at the time and I'd say, it's time to pray. I would have to go find a room to pray. And I'd sit there and go, Ya Allah, take this love of this game for me out of my heart. Wallah, wallah. Allah, I used to ask Allah, as much as I love bodybuilding and the sport, don't make it a love for me anymore. I love training, but don't make this aspect of it that I've been doing for 20 years part of my life anymore.
It was a prayer that would soon come into fruition, but in a manner he never expected. He was hit with a kidney failure that left him hospitalized, bedridden, and in a severe state of denial.
The doctors would tell me, you know, your kidneys aren't looking good. And I say, yeah. You know what I did today? I just bench pressed 200 kilos. I just did this, I did that. That was my attitude. And then subhanAllah, when it all came down and it all crumbled, it all collapsed, I started dialysis. And when dialysis started, I said to them, I don't want to do this dialysis anymore. They said, you'll be dead. I said, we're all going to die. That was the exact word it said. I said, we're all going to die, like that. They said, we'll give you 4 weeks. I said, for what? They said, 4 weeks, you'll survive.
Yeah, you can't bench press your way out of health. I mean, yeah, it's not good. We're going to stop the video at the a little after 14 minutes, just because I want to break it in half.
Wallah, when he said that, it just resonated in my head. I said, what, 4 weeks? I won't see my wife and kids, and I was just looking at death.
Yet as traumatic as the episode was, it was the opening to his transformation.
You know, yeah, humans, when we go to our lowest point in life, we always turn back to Allah. SubhanAllah, when I did get a kidney, alhamdulillah, and I did be blessed by a brother, may Allah reward him and grant him the highest of paradise, donated the kidney to me, that I got a chance to live again. And I said, when that happens, I will never turn back to that life again. I will never go back to what I was doing before. If it wasn't for the sake of Allah, or for benefiting our community, or for benefiting my akhirah, I don't want anything to do with it. And that's what kind of drew me back into going harder in what I do. And this is where I am today.
It was the exact moment the Aussie mammoth became the Muslim Undertaker. Oh my God! I'm sorry, but yeah. He turned his back on the bodybuilding industry and returned back to his roots, back to where it all began as a teenage boy finding fulfillment in the cemetery. But this time, it wasn't only the graveyard, but the washing room.
All right, my brother, this is the room here. This is called the washing room. The shroud comes in 100-meter rolls.
This is your final garment.
Where's your wardrobe now? Where's the labels? Where's the designer names that you sacrificed so hard to buy? They're all back at home in your wardrobe. This is what you're gonna wear. The sadar, the lotus, so this is like bark crushed which bark makes soap. Okay, this is camphor. Smell that, they call it the smell of death.
Oh man, that's scary.
Yeah.
Just like, it's haunting.
And this is what's put on the second wash in the water to preserve the body.
It was clear that Ahmed had a deep understanding of the funeral world, a knowledge he's primarily inherited from his teachers.
We're gonna pause it here. We're gonna go back. I like that this video now can be broken into in the video itself, but I'm going to be breaking it down because of the length. But we have the weightlifting, and now we have this part. I like that. He's a massive human being. He has muscle like around here that I don't even think has been invented yet. So, I mean, him and I look identical with our shirts off, but I'm not here to brag. You know what I mean? I wasn't talking about him. I meant him. So, you know. All right. Well, we're going to end this here. This is part 1. We will be back with part 2. Until then, have a good day. Have a